Welcome to my channel. This is Thriving with Celiac. My name is Vicky, and I wanted to walk you guys through my journey that maybe this might help somebody else who's dealing with this. But first of all, what is celiac? Celiac is an autoimmune disorder. It is not a food allergy. I was diagnosed back in 2003. It didn't seem like a lot of people knew anything about this and what gluten was. And so it was hard to navigate it back then. Things have definitely got a lot easier, but it's still some days not easy to navigate. So if I walk you through my journey and you can see some of the mistakes I've made and learn from them, that would be great. Some of the symptoms from celiac range from brain fog, headaches, B12 deficiency, iron deficiency, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, just to name a few. It's been documented that there's over 200 symptoms when it comes to celiac. When it comes to cross-contamination with our food, it was recommended to me that I use separate utensils, separate pots, all those kinds of things, especially if I was living with somebody. But when I go to work, I take all my own food or I cook all my own food. Getting somebody else to cook for us can be tricky, and they don't really understand all the time. Some other things I faced when I was first diagnosed with celiac were feeling left out, feeling alone, and overwhelmed. So just as a short story, when I first got diagnosed, I was out with some friends, we were at a party and everybody ordered pizza after, and I couldn't have any pizza. And the feeling of being left out like that was bigger than I thought it would be. So if you're feeling like that, that's normal. And there's still times you could feel like that too. But one of the first things I did was I was recommended to go see a nutritionist in order to get my eating under control and keep the gluten out of my diet. But first of all, I didn't even know what gluten was. It seems like gluten is in just about everything. And 20 years ago, the names for gluten were a lot longer than they are now. I'm really impressed that they have put gluten-free on a lot of products now, so there's not as much guessing. But that being said, I always read the ingredients on the products, even if it's something I bought before, because sometimes they change the ingredient labels. As I was saying, a nutritionist is very important. She helped walk me through what things I could eat, what things I couldn't eat. And so I stuck to just whole foods, meat, fish, potatoes, rice, fruits, and vegetables. But as I said back then, there were not a lot of gluten-free products. The bread they had out at the time was in the freezer, and the pieces were so small, and I'm not kidding, it really did taste like cardboard. They've come a long way in over 20 years, and the food is actually a little more edible, right? But it's very expensive. So if you're on a really tight budget, I would stick to whole foods. It works really well. So just to recap, some of the things that I've done in my journey with celiac. First, I got a nutritionist, and that was very helpful to help me navigate the grocery store and to give me some more tools to help me. And also getting a counselor, to help me with the feelings around it, because that feeling of isolation and being alone is really tough. And also checking your ingredient labels. Even if it's something you've already bought before, manufacturers really like to change ingredients without warning us. And always be aware of cross-contamination, right? Your surroundings, where you're at, who you're with, all those kinds of things. So I hope this was helpful. So I hope that this was informative, and thank you for watching.